Since it's only about an hour and a half from Toronto, we visited Niagara Falls a number of times in the past, but this was our first time checking it out in March. Something to be aware of in Niagara Falls is a lot of the hotels have resort fees, similar to the ones in Las Vegas, where you pay for things like swimming pools and exercise rooms. Because of that, we chose a discount Marriott without the resort fees. It was a little bit further away from the city center, but at least we didn't have to pay those unnecessary fees. The room was clean, it included breakfast, and it had a kitchenette, so it was perfect for our purposes. It's located right next to Whitewater Walk, which is an interesting walking trail that goes down the Niagara River, just further down from the falls. Unfortunately, it was closed for the season. Also next door was the 10,000 Buddha Stupa, but we arrived on a Wednesday and it's only open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So for things to see, we weren't off to a very good start. Although the hotel is a bit of a distance from the falls, we're always up for a good walk, so we didn't mind. We began making our way south towards Niagara Falls. Across the way you can see it looks like a trail, but nobody's on it. Looks a little bit dangerous to walk. Not sure if that's a proper trail or people just made it. And these plaques give some information about the bridges here. There's the Upper Suspension Bridge and the Steel Arch Bridge. And you can see the bridges across there. And across there. And there's Kim in the shot. Across the street you can see the casino, tower, the Sheraton Hotel where we spent our honeymoon many years ago. And across the way you can see the American side of the falls. In the distance, Horseshoe Falls, which is the Canadian side. And we're at one of the main viewing points for the Canadian side of the falls. You can see a zip line over there. And as we head up to the observation area, edge of the Canadian Horseshoe Falls, and there's a plaque here that says Table Rock. This is the site of the historic landmark Table Rock, a shelf of bare rock 61 meters or 200 feet long, 60 feet wide. Once part of the crest of the Horseshoe Falls, it was left isolated when the falls receded. Much of the overhang is gone, and there's just a little bit left right here. That's the remains of Table Rock. Even when it's covered in ice and snow, Niagara Falls is still a spectacular sight. It never fails to impress as the shallow waters of the Niagara River suddenly drop off into a deep cataract. If you need a break from being cold and wet, there's a shopping area just inside. This is also the location to do the Journey Behind the Falls experience. However, we arrived too late to see it this day. After checking out the falls, we made our way back to the Clifton Hill area, which was located downtown. One thing about Clifton Hill is it's always open. However, don't expect cheap prices or really good food here. It's a tourist trap.
Find the hidden passageway and finish the journey of terror, or be lost in the clutching darkness forever.
This place is good for kids or the young at heart, but you will have to spend a fair bit of money to enjoy it.
Show it to me.
The next day we decided to make a quick trip down to Niagara-on-the-Lake before we headed back home. This place is peaceful, historical, and a lot quieter than Niagara Falls is. After consuming all those calories, it was time for a long walk, so we walked directly from the coffee shop over to the lake. One of the benefits of the off-season was there was nobody on the golf course, so we were able to cross without incident. There's a nice walking trail right on the lake, so we started to follow it. We kinda just stumbled into Fort Missaga. It wasn't on the planned trip, but we found it and so we decided to check it out. There is not much left of the fort, but it was worth a quick stop on the way. Unfortunately, Parks Canada hasn't kept this one up in the best of conditions. There were a couple signs around giving information, although they were pretty worn and weathered. There's what it looked like originally, 1814, and then 1852, and then they planned to expand it, but they never improved it. So that was the way it was at the end.
What's there?
So this is some information about the location and how strategic it was, because the Americans were on one side of the border and the British were on the other side. And so the river went right between it. And then it opened up into the lake here. You can see. There was actually a battle that was fought here, Battle of Fort George.
Wow.
Fort Missaga is located close to the mouth of the Niagara River. Just across on the other side is Fort Niagara, on the American side. These forts were both involved in the War of 1812, although Fort Missaga was still being built when the war happened.
Are they windows?
They're blocking. They used to be gun holes.
Oh, they are gun
That's why they're so narrow.
holes. Okay.
So basically they would shoot out of here.
Mm.
Now they covered them up so people can't use it. There's not as much to do when visiting Niagara Falls or Niagara-on-the-Lake in the winter, but we still enjoyed it. We got some good exercise in, saw some sights, and the weather was not too bad, all things considered. Redo it, preserve it, renovate it.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the ghost comes out of.
The Japanese movie.
That's right, the ring. And in the next video, we will get back to our Ireland trip with the Sky Road in Connemara.